Did you click the button, Hunter? We're live on audio now. We're live on YouTube. This is the Thread 7 podcast. My name is Chili. I'm your host, filling in for Chad Allen Wright, who is in San Diego, California, 70 degrees. We're hitting the weather early.
Dang.
70 degrees in
Coastal winter.
in San Diego, California. Mild to moderate winds. Winds on that Pacific coast. You know about that, Hunter? They do a lot of surfing and skimboarding out there. He's at the Hotel Del.
No, he ain't.
Huh?
No, he ain't. I didn't allow that.
He's at the Hotel Del training right now, and he's having a good time. Well, we're going to kick off this meeting. This isn't a podcast. We just decided we would record this meeting today. What do we have coming up, Corn? The advanced drop?
Yeah, the advanced drop's coming up.
Yep.
Not this weekend, but the next. And
yep.
Yeah, it's going to be big.
What do we need to do for ads on YouTube this week?
For ads on YouTube this week, I'm sure we got to do a first foreman.
Yeah.
First foreman somewhere in there.
Met Foreman.
First foreman. Yeah. We'll just do first foreman this week.
Okay, you got anything for the meeting, Blake?
Nah.
Any announcements that the team should know?
Wow. What's going on this week, bub?
Huh. What about you, Hunter? No. That was a pretty short meeting. Corn's still on his phone, and I'm about to smack it out of his hand.
He's worried to death
about his AirPod. Where's your AirPod?
Listen, I've got some news about Corn. He caught his first bass this weekend. So we went on. We had the opportunity to go down and do this big squirrel hunt down in Alabama with the Buckmasters.
I wanted to hear about that, but what you're fishing?
Well, yeah. So at the downtime, they've got a couple lakes, and Jackie himself let us fish his lake. And Corn, bless his heart, he didn't have. We didn't bring poles because we're not really bass fishermen.
You've never caught a largemouth bass?
I've caught a bassel.
Just listen.
A largemouth bass. A bassel.
We get out there, and it's like, hey, look, we don't really fish. All right.
Yeah. We look like James Niggermeyer to you? We ain't fishermen.
So
wow, 5 minutes into a podcast where Chad's not here, and you're already bringing up James Niggermeyer.
I love him.
I do too, but
everybody should know how to fish, how to tie your lure on, how to throw a fishing pole, and so our buddy Cody,
how to cast,
and Allie, they had some poles, right? And they said you can use these poles. So we get down there and go, oh, I ain't never used a bait caster.
No, that is true.
I don't know
really?
how to throw that.
I had never used that bait caster.
So I coached him up on it, although I am not a fisherman.
He had a bird's nest in that in 5 seconds.
Wasn't that bad.
Corn went from never have caught a bass.
That's a lot.
To catching a probably 3-pounder.
Oh, the biggest one that was caught all the last 2 days.
How far did you throw that bait caster? About 3 feet.
No, I mean,
you warmed up to it.
Good at it.
You warmed up to it. That's good.
Yeah.
But I got it on video. We can put that on Patreon. But he caught his first bass. It was a nice one. And
well, you could say my first Alabama bass. I mean, you could, since you want to play my first fishing trip, you can say my first Alabama bass.
It was really an honor for me to be there with you first catch and to have trained you up in how to use the bait caster.
You set the hook?
Literally the biggest.
No, this is what happened.
Did he set the hook?
He gets the fish in, right? He's fishing the boat ramp, a concrete going down in, and he reels it in, and then right at the edge of the water, the fish comes off of the hook. And I said, you didn't even catch it. And he jumped.
Oh, you didn't seal the deal?
He jumped in the water and caught it with his hands and pulled it out.
Well, I don't believe that.
I got it on
My
video.
golly, it's on video.
Well, I'll need to see that video.
Yeah.
I really doubt you did that.
No, he did.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't dive in.
Eat those words.
But he got in there, and I said, you didn't even catch the fish, Corn. And then he goes in there and gets it.
No, you didn't do that.
Well, I got it on video.
My golly, it is. Yeah.
That's going to be Patreon
biggest
exclusive.
fish. Biggest
You
fish.
got a sick one.
No, he was healthy. A healthy fish.
Yeah.
Where's your AirPod?
I think it's over about West 3rd Street, Rome, Georgia. I I think it's laying on the ground over there. Maybe in the gutter.
Why is that the case?
Because I misplaced it.
One of those construction dudes over there is going to take it.
Yeah.
You just left it out there.
Gonzalez. Then scooped that thing up.
Well, look, you got out of the truck and I knew something was wrong. The first time I laid eyes on you, I was like, man, he either hadn't slept or he needs a cigarette.
No. You know.
And then I found out what's wrong.
Well, me and Blake went to the killing fields, man.
Your calf is strained and your mouth is swollen.
My mouth's come down. Does it still look swollen? I don't think it is.
That's Chili. You don't believe me.
Now, Blake has got this thing now where if you like say something to him, he wants to joke about you, something related to that. So he had a thing on his ear. So I allowed, hey, bud, how long that brown spot been on your ear? And he wiped it off as some tick hide or something that was on his ear. And then the next thing you know, he's like, hey, man, your gums are swole up or something. You look like this right here. So he tries to make a joke about you the whole time.
And it just so happened that his mouth was actually hurting in the same spot on the same side that I said, what do you have in your mouth? And he's like, nothing, man. My gum's swollen. It was swollen over here yesterday. It started hurting down here the next day. And I got some of this kudzu leaf I've been sucking on. And I think that's what happened.
Sweet gum.
So
kudzu and sweet gum root.
So
he really struggled this weekend. He really
it
struggled.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, he missed a pig.
We don't know that I missed the pig. We don't know. We didn't get the pig.
Then who you missed it?
No. Let me tell you what.
No, you missed where you should have shot it if you didn't recover it.
There's been a many
point blank you missed.
There's been a many a times I've shot a pig and know I've shot a pig. The pig squealed, took off.
It could have done that because you scared it,
bumping into trees and whatnot.
It just
and you don't even go look for the pig.
It squealed because you scared it.
You don't even go look for the pig.
It squealed because you frightened it.
You just pigs and coyotes. You just shoot them to shoot them. You just shoot them to kill them.
Pest.
Well, you don't know that you can't. That's not a confirmed kill.
No, it definitely isn't. I agree with that.
Now,
but I won't agree that I missed. I will not agree with that.
It was recorded through the scope, and his crosshairs were up toward the neck and low, but it's hard to tell where they were at right when the shot breaks. It is a 50-50.
Nonetheless.
But he was in the vicinity, so anyways. But he did good.
Did y'all have a good time?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun.
We always have a good time.
Killed a few fox squirrels. Had a feist out there. Was way better than JR. I mean, if JR had been out there, he wouldn't have been able to keep up. Really,
way better than Wendy.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
Wendy's a pet now, anyway.
Yeah.
Way better than Wendy was.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Wendy's good, but she gets hung up. This dog could have treated 5 squirrels to Wendy's too. Don't you think?
Well,
the way she doesn't was half your dog.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've only road hunted Wendy.
That's true.
Yeah.
We walk hunted.
Yeah.
We walk hunted. Then we were shooting these squirrels with pellet guns.
Yeah.
That seems like a no.
And we shot one squirrel. How many times, Corn?
8 times.
8 times with pellet. And it was holding on with one hand to a vine.
Yeah.
To get it to come down. And we lost a squirrel to pellet guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
If we had a shotgun, we would have to fire one blast. Boom, squirrel's dead.
Or a dang 22 in the head, man.
Yeah, pellet gun is not. You like a 22, don't you?
I do.
You keep playing up. Everybody thinks a 22 is bad.
Well, they do. That
you can't even hit nothing with your 22.
Well, that's on me. That ain't on the gun. I mean, look, these air guns and pellet guns, that's fine for just, having fun in the yard or whatever, but that ain't killing nothing.
Now, if you got a good rest and you shoot that squirrel behind the shoulder or in the head, it will kill it.
A 22 is serious.
Easy.
That pellet gun's no.
Yeah,
that is a toy.
That's a serious round.
Your daddy allowed you better lay off, JR.
Wow. I tell him he ain't got nothing on Sage.
Yeah, Sage was doing it.
I mean, this guy was serious about. You think Chad's serious about squirrel hunting? This guy was serious.
Who was this guy?
What was his name? Jamie.
We've given no background information to none of this.
He's from Nashville.
Well, you're running the show, Bub.
What was I there? Was I there? All I know is you needed a Marlboro Red when you got out of the truck and you had a swollen mouth.
Whoa, bud, why? Chill. Is this how you want the podcast to go?
Don't
you want it to be wild?
Don't be mad that you lost your AirPod.
I am mad that I lost.
No, don't take it out on me though. I would never do that to you.
With what?
Any frustration that I had, I would not take it out on you.
You literally take everything out on me.
Like what?
Showing up on time, you take out on me. Here I am again, Corn. On time. Look at me. On time again.
Well, you act like I'm always late. I'm never late. Anyway. So what was this for this weekend? I mean, give me some background information, Lord. What were y'all there for? You had a bunch of drab losers this morning.
How you say the name of that town? Hayneville, Alabama.
Help him out, Blake.
Yeah. It was the I don't spell and talk right, you know what I mean? The Buckmasters Squirrel Masters Jamboree.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was an event that y'all were influencers at.
That we were invited to.
Yeah.
To be influencers at.
To participate in.
Okay.
They heard that we killed a lot of squirrels. They heard how good I shot and how well I could spot them.
Uh-huh.
And Corn come along. He's good spotting squirrels too.
And good woodsmanship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, if we're going to be in the wood, he ought to be there.
Nice property though.
Real nice property. Yeah. Yeah, it was real nice.
Well, it's nice. The unique thing about the squirrels in Alabama is when they get treed, they come back down the tree. In Georgia, they don't do that. North Georgia, they don't do that. Now, we did learn in Warm Springs, a squirrel will do that. But in North Georgia, I don't know why, but these squirrels, they would come back down the tree, hit the ground, and run to the next tree, and then go back up. They wouldn't timber on the branches. Now, sometimes they would, but usually they would come all the way back down the tree. And that's how Corn actually caught a squirrel by hand, was running across the ground. He reaches down and grabs it by the tail and does this 360 spin and smacks it right into a tree. Kills it dead.
Gave him a fatal concussion.
Well, that's fine, but I still don't believe you caught that bass with your hand.
You're going to see it.
Okay.
He did, yeah.
You're going to see it.
So we had a good time. Glad to be back. We just got in today. We left Monday after the podcast, and we showed up Wednesday before the podcast. So this was a packed few days.
Yeah. Y'all don't seem like you got much sleep.
We brought a lot of death.
No, we didn't get in bed last night till 12:45 Alabama time, which would have been 1:45 Georgia time.
Yeah.
And then we got up this morning at 6 o'clock. Yeah.
Well, did y'all eat anywhere good in Alabama?
No.
Like Dreamland Barbecue. It ain't much count, is it?
It's better than Dobbs.
Yeah, it is, but it ain't much.
That was in downtown Montgomery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've overhyped it.
I was excited to try that place. And it was a big letdown.
It's a legendary spot, but
Is it?
Well, yeah, but I told you it was going to let you down. It ain't all that.
Yeah.
But you know,
I don't recommend it.
But you built it up in your own mind, so
ruined it. Them Montgomery streets had me messed up, man. Like when we got off the interstate, the way the way their streets flow is weird to me.
Well, you cannot follow a GPS. I don't mean to keep hating on you, but this joker will turn he turned literally into a cow pasture, and the road was like 20 feet past his turn. Like, we're going to this place. He turns into a cow pasture. And I said, Corn, what are you doing, man? He's like, there's a turn right here. And I was like, look, man, here's where you are. Here's the turn. Did you think that we were going to go through this cow pasture to get to our next road?
Remember when he rode through Orleans, Indiana? Remember how you can't drive.
What's the name of that stupid app you use? It's
Oh,
not. It's
Waze?
not
Waze.
I hate that app too.
I can't stand
I
it.
put it on Google
That's
because
a
you didn't
terrible
like
app.
it.
And in my
Waze
and
is
in-
over.
it
Terrible.
wasn't on Google. It was still on that one that allowed police up here, tree in the road over here.
Yeah, but I
Little
changed
kid
it, and
riding
you
a
was still
bicycle,
doing
right?
the
Nah,
same
it was
thing.
Who?
What?
Who riding a bicycle? Luke Bryan? Who did you say?
Luke Bryan riding a bicycle
Is
up
that
here.
what you said?
In my defense on turning into cow pasture, Blake allowed the liaison that was getting us there, Allie, said this thing is taking people to some weird places, and we're just going to pull up at this ranch. Now, if you pull up at a ranch, that's going to be inside a cow pasture.
Corn.
So when I seen
Wow.
when
That's your defense.
so when I seen
So when I
So-
saw one, I just pulled into it.
Of all the 500 cow pastures we passed, you thought this is it.
yeah, because that stupid app you use where you can't tell where to turn at was allowing the turn. It'll say like 0.9 miles till you turn. Next thing you know, you look down, it says 600 feet.
That's because you have traveled approximately 0.9 miles.
No, that thing's junk, man. That thing
Yeah.
is awful.
I do hate Waze.
But I do appreciate you driving.
Every bit. He drove for 10 minutes. He drove from coffee shop to coffee shop.
Well, they were further than 10 minutes apart.
He drove from 10 minutes, coffee shop to coffee shop. I did all the other driving.
I drove
all of
like
it.
2 hours today.
All of it.
He did do all the other driving.
Every bit of it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, how's your other ailments coming? Your shoulder doing all right?
Yeah, it's doing okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Calf?
Calf's stretched out today.
Okay.
Yeah, it's stretched out today.
I guess this workout we're going to do after the show will just be me, huh?
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing that.
Hunter can do it.
Yeah. You want to do it, Hunter?
Pepe.
All right. Well, thanks for telling me about y'all's squirrel hunt
Thanks for asking.
or whatever it was event. It was a lot.
Yeah, it's big.
Wait, I thought it was a squirrel hunt. It was a squirrel
That
hunt,
was the meat of it, but
fishing, nighttime varmint killing.
Yeah.
that made the whole hamburger, but the meat of it was the squirrel hunt.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was good, man.
Well,
You should have been there, Chili.
if you don't, I've been busy.
What
If
have
you-
you been doing while we was gone?
Lots of stuff. But do you have any announcements, Blake? Because I do have one.
Go ahead.
Well, there's a race coming up, 3 of 7 Project Trail Race. I don't know exactly how many spots are left. I think I'll just ballpark it at about 40. March 22nd. That's a Saturday. I will not be there, unfortunately. I will not be there. Once again, how busy I am. I'll be traveling. And I do hate that, but it is going to be a good race. We've done this. I'm trying to think now. The first 3 of 7 race was a 50K, and we've done this one at Sloppy Floyd.
3 times on
Is
it.
this the third or the fourth? Third. Yeah. So 3rd annual 3 of 7 Project Trail Race at Sloppy Floyd State Park. It's a looped race, so 4 and 8 hour options. Yeah, if you've done it before, come out and try to beat your laps from before, or if you've never done it and are looking for a good opportunity to get a 50K in, you could do the 8 hour option, and it'd be a tough one, but it's definitely doable. And I know Chad signed up for the 8 hour.
Yeah.
Chad's going to be there running, and I don't know. You'll have a good opportunity to destroy Chad at a race because he is more out of shape than usual. So that'll be really funny. I wish I could see that.
This would be some good ROP training if somebody wanted to come get just some miles in, just 8 hour, just go out and walk,
Yeah, for real.
stay on your feet.
Yeah, you could you ruck out there, run out there for 8 hours. It's just a good training opportunity for a lot of the other races that people are doing, and good meet up with the community. It's always a fun time. So I hate I'm gonna miss it, but we've got that thing to a science now too. You know, these races. I think we're really honing in the quality of them, and hopefully they're getting better each and every time. And we'll have the Mountain Mama again in probably October. So yeah, come out and race with us. That's the only announcement I had. Well, I'll ask you, Corn, do you want to do news or Patreon question first? The news is big.
Let's do the Patreon question.
Okay.
Because it goes along with the race
All right.
that you just talked about.
Go ahead.
This question is directed to you, Chili.
Oh, wow.
This is a Chili specific question. From Mr. Mike Hoffman.
Mm-hmm.
Doing my first ultra on March 22nd, Crown King Scramble 50K. Going to pay the debt that Chili and Blake incurred for being tourist outlaws. Would love to hear about Chili's first ultra, how he did, and what he learned.
Well, Crown King, that's you remember Crown King.
Yeah. Iconic.
It is iconic. Chad was rolling through when he did the Cocodona 250. That was an aid station in Crown King Saloon, and we were
30-something miles.
Yeah,
right?
probably 38 miles in or something. That's close enough, and he was looking rough.
Yeah, all systems are go.
Yes. So about a 50K in that terrain can definitely provide quite the challenge. But that sounds like a great race. It's probably the same race director, huh? Air Viper running.
I'm not sure. I mean,
I would think it's got to be. I don't know who else does anything out there in those parts, but definitely recommend Air Viper races. And that sounds awesome, Mike. That's a big step Mike's taken to get to be running a 50K already.
Is he from out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's close to home for him, and that's a big step. Remember, he was at the Proving Ground just a year ago.
Yeah.
Just a year ago. And I mean, to go from the way he was at the Proving Ground, which he did a lot better than he thought he did, but he struggled with some things and realized that running and hiking was super difficult, more difficult than it needed to be. And I mean, he's already running a difficult 50K like that. That's awesome. That's a really fast ramp up. So want to acknowledge that. But my first ultra, I've probably told two different stories about my first ultra. Because sometimes I say that my first one was the Georgia Jewel 100 miler. Mm-hmm. And other times I remember that really the first time I ever went over a marathon, over the ultra distance, was a last man standing race that I did in Chattanooga. And I was running in college, ran for a semester. I decided I wanted to run on my own, left college, transferred schools, and about half a year went by, and I was just kind of piddling around, not running much. And I didn't even know what ultra running was at the time when I was 18 or 19. And I guess I was 18 at the time. And it's funny because it was gaining popularity at that time, and I had ran my whole life, but I just never really knew much about it or that was even a thing. And I saw that this race was in Chattanooga. It was a last man standing, which I hadn't even heard of those at the time. And I was like, man, that sounds pretty cool. And then I really realized what the format was. It was, you just run this little 4-something mile loop for every hour. And basically whoever is not going to quit will win. Mm-hmm. And I was like, the longest I'd ever ran at that point was like a 15-mile long run. And so I had no business to think that I could run hundreds of miles or whatever it would take. And I was like, I looked at my dad and I was like, I will win that easy. And he was like, all right, well, let's go do it. And I went to it. I didn't know nothing. I mean, I just had road shoes, I think. Maybe I had a pair of trail shoes, but it was nothing that I'd went long in. Like I said, my longest run was 15 miles, and I didn't know anything about nutrition, nothing. And I remember it was a decent sized field, maybe 100 runners, maybe not even. And I just remember getting a lap or two in and looking at Dad and being like, this will be so easy. Like, I will win this, no problem. And then about 16, 20 miles in, I was like, this is farther than I've ever went. This is easy as crap. And then marathon in, 30 miles in, 35 miles, whatever it was in that range. I remember being like, golly, this is easy. I mean, is this all the ultra running is? Like half the field had already quit. I was like, this is easy. And then it was about 10 hours in, that gets you at like 42, 43 miles, and the wheels just fell off. I mean, I just slowed down so much. I started hiking and just, I don't even know what happened. Like I just was not moving well at all. And Dad was like, you cut that one a little close. You just trying to, I forget what he asked me. He was like, give me the benefit of the doubt. And I was like, yeah. And then the next lap, I came in over an hour, and I was out of time, and I was like, it just happened so fast, and I was like, wow, that was odd. Like I was doing really well, and then all of a sudden the wheels just fell off. I covered like 50 miles, 48 or 46 officially or whatever it was. So I'd win an ultra distance. And I was like, dang, how did that happen so fast? And it took me a minute to realize, like, we were getting our stuff ready and everything. And I was like, well, how many people are still going? And it was a ton of people. It was like 15 people still going. And I was only 50 miles in, and there was women still going. And I was like, dang, that was embarrassing. Like because I wasn't just playing it up like I thought I would win. Like I actually believed I would win. And that definitely, that humbled me, but in a strange way, when I, the days following that race, I was as humbling as it was, and as much as I failed to live up to the expectations that I put for myself and what I just genuinely thought I could do. It was weird that it humbled me that much, yet made me realize that I could actually do that. Like I remember coming away from it being like, that really went bad, but I'm confident I can figure this out.
Yeah.
And so it was that point that I said, I'm gonna do this again, and I'm gonna do it big. And I started training from that point on hard for ultra specifically. And I said, I'm not going to do another ultra. I'll do some races in between, but I'm not going to do another ultra until I'm going to smack it in the mouth. And so I waited almost exactly a year to do the Georgia Jewel 100, which was like my first official, sign up for an ultra distance, and trained for a year really hard, like learned so much from just that one. And it went a lot better. And one thing that it's important for me to say that story too, for you, Mike, or anybody that asks about ultras, is because like my first official ultra, the Georgia Jewel 100, that one went well. But I think sometimes when I say that or tell that story, like I've don't mention that last man standing disaster, that like, that's really why the Georgia Jewel went so well. Cause I don't know that it would have panned out that way if I hadn't tried to race that just out of pure ignorance and just got obliterated,
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that would have went well. I don't think I would have trained so hard or with the knowledge that I had. I just don't think I would have been able to know, oh, I need to do this now. Like, I would have.
You don't know until you go try and fail at it.
Exactly. And, that's, Mike asked me specifically, I guess, for some advice too with his first one, or just wanted to know that story. But what anybody can gain from this story is that you're never going to sign up for your first ultra or your first whatever and know everything you need to know because you've read other people's accounts or heard other people's accounts or looked up the perfect training plan online. Like, you might have success the first time you try something, but it's not really going to be because you found all of those right things. It'll, I mean, it's not luck either, but it's, you can't make sure or ensure with 100% certainty that your first time doing something will be a success just because of other people's experiences. Like, you're going to have to try something yourself. And it, like I said, it could go well, but that's really why the Georgia Jewel went well for me, is because I had tried it before and put in a lot of effort. Like, people were telling me things about ultra running, and I heard you need to do this or eat this and everything. It was like, yeah, but I learned what I need specifically just from that one attempt. You're everybody's different, everybody's individual. So the only way to learn something really is through your own experience. And you say that all the time, Blake, even with like life lessons. Someone can tell you all the time, like, hey, you shouldn't do this, or this is a mistake I made, but you probably won't realize that or get what you need from it until you make it yourself.
Yeah, you can avoid suffering on someone else's account. Like, I could share with you, don't do drugs, because when I did drugs, this is what happened. And you'd be like, oh, phew, glad I didn't do that. I avoided that suffering. But you're not going to get what they got out of it. You're not going to learn like why to the degree and how to manage, like, and you can avoid suffering, but not learn. And learning is valuable. I'm not saying you should go do drugs so you learn. I'm saying like sometimes you got to jump in the mix and just learn it, I mean, do what you know how to do with what you have and seek advice from those around you that know, and then take that and go do it and then adjust, because especially with running, so much is so individual, with diet, with shoes, with gear, with what you're good at.
Yeah. And to me, those two races, my first two, were cool for me because I learned just as much or more at the second one that went well that I did the time I failed. Like, I hear a lot of people say, you never learn when you win, or like you never learn when you're successful. It's only when you fail, so like failure is important. And I mean, I agree, failure is important. It's important to try things and fail and learn from it, but don't discount what you can learn from doing something right.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like it seems to be often ignored.
Yeah.
But sometimes you try things and it goes well, or you learn something from a successful attempt at something, and like you should learn from any time you do anything, whether it goes bad, well, regardless of the outcome, you can learn from something. And yeah, I don't know. That was my experience with ultra running. And what do you think about your first one, Blake? What did you learn from your first 100? I know you'd done ultras before that, but that's kind of a different deal.
Yeah. I mean, I think the nutrition was a big one, and through training you learn, right? And you don't have to do a race to start learning. You have to get out and start running to start learning. And, to your point, that people that say you don't learn till you start failing, when you fail, you learn what doesn't work. When you win,
you learn what
learn what does work. So to your point, you are learning both, and they're both great things to learn. But I guess on my first one, I ended up bumming my knee up, and it's no excuse, but I mean, I really felt like I had a lot more fitness than I did durability. And, I think had I trained for a longer period of time before that, maybe that would have helped. I don't know. But, also just diet and nutrition. I think that's a really big key with ultra running, is figuring out what works for you and actually going out there, not doing a 10-mile run and be like, oh, that felt pretty good. Like, actually go out, get your heart rate up, go for longer runs on your 20-mile runs or your back-to-back long runs. Go out and actually eat food and see what is going to sit well and what isn't. For me, it was like drink mix, and then like a high carb drink mix, and then like peanut butter and honey sandwiches, I think is what I would get a couple of those in between at every aid station. And I might have ate like 1 or 2 gels and just really couldn't stomach them. But real food, simple ingredients, really simple carbs worked really well for me. So I think a big thing, what I did learn in training, was to dial in your nutrition. Because on my first one, I didn't do that. The Iron Mountain 50 miler, I didn't do that. And I had some terrible stomach cramps and stuff. I just thought I'm just going to eat gels. I ate like a couple of them. I ran for 30 minutes, an hour, a couple hours, and I'd eat a gel or two. And I said, it's fine with me. And I got out there and like 15 miles in, I remember I quit talking and Chad was like, "You all right, man?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I had really kind of just quit eating because they were just jamming me up. I think I had a bunch of those goo gels too. Those things are terrible. And, ended up figuring it out while I was out there, like, hey, stop eating this and eat this. So I learned what didn't work.
Yeah.
And then, I did a couple in between, but the more you do, the more you dial it in. So I think nutrition is a really big one that you have to figure it out or you're not going to finish the race. You have to figure out your nutrition, what you can eat and what your body will tolerate.
Do you think you learn things about, I mean, we're all talking about learning things from failure and success that pertain to the actual like strategy and mechanics of running. But like, do you think a lot of people do hard things or try to do their first ultra or like you, Corn, when you did your 100-mile bike ride, like, do you learn things about yourself when you do stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you learn, okay, I need to do this when I'm riding or what to eat, but do you learn? I mean, I guess I don't ever really pay attention to that, but I know a lot of people do things that are difficult for that specifically. But it made me think I don't ever really take inventory of what I learn about myself. I mean, I don't do that.
I mean, I think that's he asked you, what do you?
Well, I mean, specifically like on the bike ride, the biggest lesson I learned, I've talked about, like I learned that I may not be the person that needs to be helping a specific person. And for that to be a forethought. So I've always seen myself as being somebody who has to help somebody, specifically like in my family or something like that. So I learned that they may not always be the case. So I did learn that about myself.
Yeah.
When we went to the Hot Rod Ultra, like I don't think I took any inventory like that at all.
I know. Yeah, I don't. That may be something you should do more. I should do more. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, I think naturally doing hard things, it show how you act when things are hard, reveal how you act and handle everyday stresses and things. And you can convince yourself that I am not a selfish person. I am not a prideful person.
Yeah.
I am not one who kind of draws back. I'm not one who steps forward. All of these things.
Yeah.
And then when it actually happens, and then those things play out, then it does, I think, show you things about yourself. But the problem can be sometimes you don't know that about yourself. So then when you do it, you still don't know it about yourself. It almost takes someone else to see it and say something. And then people can go do hard things. I think it does show things about ourselves that we can see sometimes that we don't. But then sometimes we'll do things and we feel like we have to take away something from it. We say, there has to be something here. And we will just formulate it like, oh, I learned this about myself. I'm really going to, and you're just really satisfying this itch that you have to learn something about yourself. So, kind of in that same vein, I think it's like you should be conscious of it, but not be so hung up on having to come out with something. And if you don't, like you probably should have, but if you don't, ask some people that were around, like you could even ask, what do you see that I'm responding improperly to day to day? You know, like just those kind of things. But when we go do those things like that, whatever it is that you should get, I firmly believe will stand out to you. Like you go do this hard race, this hard course, maybe it's a 307 course, maybe it's a ROP course, whatever. And people want to come back with this big, grocery sack full of things. This is what I need to wear. I got it all.
Yeah.
When really they need to come back with the little brown paper sack, with a little knick-knack in it. And it's like, this is what stood out to me. And this is one thing that I can work on over a long period of time. And then I'll continue to train. Once I've kind of got this down, I'll add something else to it and, continue to maintain. It's like things go from disrepair to maintenance. And then now when there's nothing in disrepair, you got to figure out what that next one is and add it to the maintenance list. and then you're just maintaining these
Yeah.
things throughout your life.
Well, and you said too that a lot of times you need someone else to help you, like, evaluate you.
Yeah.
It's hard to self-evaluate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that a lot with the last man standing stuff, or the people that are like, or really any ultra, I'll never quit, just this, I'll never quit nothing. And like even me, when you do that one where, I didn't make the loop back in an hour, I mean, come on, man.